Today, we are diving into a really unusual story from the Buddhist scriptures. See, it doesn't take place in some peaceful monastery or a quiet forest. No, this story is set in the strange, wild land of a ghost king. It's all about an incredible meeting between the Buddha and one of his most powerful protectors, a being of just immense strength, but even deeper compassion.
So right off the bat, you have to ask yourself this question. Why would the fully enlightened one, the Buddha himself, agree to spend 7 whole days in a place that's literally filled with ghosts, spirits, and demons? Well, the answer to that question is what this is all about, and it reveals one of the most profound parts of the Bodhisattva path. So the story gets started with this incredible figure, Vajrapani. He's a powerful protector of the Buddha's teachings, sometimes known as the Vajra-wielding spirit. He formally goes up to the Buddha and invites him to his own realm, the land of the Ghost King, to teach for 7 days. And this isn't just for him, it's for all the beings who live there. The Buddha, seeing this amazing opportunity to enlighten countless beings, silently accepts.
And the way Vajrapani prepares shows you just how deep his devotion runs. This isn't just any old chair. He goes into this deep meditation, and using his immense powers, he manifests a throne that's identical to one from a far-off Buddha land. The text says it's thousands of miles wide, made of all these precious gems and covered in celestial flowers. It radiates a light that just calms your mind. So you see, this isn't just for show. It's a physical manifestation of his profound respect.
You can imagine, word of the Buddha's visit spreads like wildfire. Vajrapani sends his sons out as messengers, and pretty soon beings from all across the different realms of existence start showing up. You've got spirits from the earth and sky, the 4 heavenly kings who guard the world, gods from the highest celestial realms. They all gather in the sky above the Ghost King's land, creating this huge, shimmering audience, just waiting to hear the Buddha's teaching.
So, the Buddha arrives and takes his seat on this magnificent throne. And you might expect him to start with some simple stories, right? Nope. He goes straight to the heart of the matter. He starts teaching the very mechanism that creates suffering and keeps every single being trapped in the cycle of rebirth. He starts with this core principle, dependent origination, or what's sometimes called the 12 links of causation. The main idea here is pretty simple, but it's profound. Nothing exists all by itself. Everything, from a little thought that pops into your head to our entire existence, it all arises because of things that came before it. It's this unbreakable chain of cause and effect that drives the whole cycle of suffering. Okay, so let's break down how this chain actually works. It all kicks off with ignorance, just a fundamental misunderstanding of how reality is. That ignorance leads us to do things, karma-forming actions, which then shape our consciousness. Our consciousness leads to sensory experiences, right? And that gives rise to craving, wanting the good stuff, avoiding the bad. That craving turns into grasping, which is the fuel for the whole process of becoming, the momentum for a new life. And where does that lead? Inevitably to birth, aging, and death, the whole cycle of suffering.
But here is the beautiful part. If the chain can be forged, it can also be broken. The Buddha explains that if you cut the root, if you replace that fundamental ignorance with wisdom, the whole sequence just collapses. When ignorance is gone, those karma-forming actions stop. When the actions stop, diluted consciousness stops, and so on, all the way down the line, until birth, aging, and death themselves are no more. That right there is the path to liberation.
So after hearing this incredibly profound teaching, Vajrapani has some questions. And he's not just asking for himself. He wants to know how to truly walk the path of a bodhisattva, someone who dedicates their entire existence to liberating every other being out there.
And his first question is so practical, so real. He asks, how can a being who's trying to save others deal with anger? Think about it. In a world that's filled with so much injustice and suffering, how does a bodhisattva keep their mind free from rage and hatred?
The Buddha gives them 10 methods. And they're not about just bottling up your anger. They're about completely transforming the mind so anger doesn't even arise in the first place. It's about cultivating the opposites, unconditional loving kindness and massive compassion. It means realizing that everything is ultimately empty and using wisdom and skillful means to help people. So really, the antidote to anger isn't suppression. It's a mind that's just overflowing with wisdom and compassion.
Then Vajrapani asks another huge question. This one is about achieving spiritual mastery. How does a bodhisattva become truly free, truly powerful in their ability to help others, without being held back by the normal limits of existence?
The Buddha lays out 4 key practices for this. They include things like mastering these incredibly deep states of meditation, known as samadhi, and perfecting the kind of wisdom that sees the true nature of reality. By mastering these things, a bodhisattva can act freely anywhere in the cosmos, appearing in any form they need to, all to guide beings toward enlightenment.
And this is where the story builds to its real climax. At this point, a local ruler, King Ajatasattu, has heard about the Buddha's visit. He arrives and asks this pivotal question: where did Vajrapani get all this immense virtue and power? The Buddha's answer is a story from a time so long ago it's almost impossible to imagine.
So we're going way, way back now, countless eons ago, to the time of a previous Buddha. And in that Buddha's assembly, a great bodhisattva named Brave Power stood up and made a statement that just shocked everyone with its incredible courage.
Now, just look at this quote. It is completely counterintuitive. Brave Power said that a true bodhisattva should see the cycle of suffering not as a prison to escape, but as their field of action. To be afraid of rebirth and just want your own personal peace, well, from this point of view, that's actually a subtle kind of selfishness. The true path is to willingly stay in the world, life after life, to help every single being find their own freedom. And then comes the big reveal. The punchline to this whole cosmic story. The Buddha turns to King Ajatasattu and tells him that Bodhisattva Brave Power, the one who made that unimaginable vow all those eons ago, is sitting right there with them. He is none other than Vajrapani himself. All of his power today is the direct result of that ancient, selfless promise.
And to really hammer this point home, the story ends with a physical demonstration of the power that's born from a vow like this. Vajrapani doesn't just talk about virtue, he shows everyone what it really means.
He takes his Vajra, his symbolic thunderbolt weapon, and just places it on the ground. First, he challenges King Ajatasattu, a man so strong he could supposedly toss elephants around. The king tries to lift it, can't move it a hair's breadth, can't even make it wiggle. Then he challenges Indra, the king of the gods, a being who can literally throw cosmic mountains, and even he is completely unable to lift it. So what's going on here? The Buddha explains it. He says the Vajra is filled with something called heavy virtue. Its weight isn't physical, it's spiritual. He says that if you could somehow put that Vajra on one side of a scale and the cosmic Mount Sumeru, the absolute center of the universe, on the other, the Vajra would still be heavier. Its spiritual weight, born from that vow to save all beings, is greater than the physical weight of the entire cosmos. Which leaves us with this one last thought. The true weight of that Vajra doesn't come from any special metal or magic. It comes from the immeasurable, unshakable power of a bodhisattva's compassion. It's the weight of a promise kept across countless lifetimes, a promise to never abandon the world until all suffering has finally come to an end.